afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Horsepower Obsessed. Today we're going to talk about the C8 Corvette and specifically the Z06 and Zora models that are apparently going to be absolutely mind-blowing. Alright guys, so we have talked about the Z06 and the Zora model, which we'll touch a little bit more on here in a second, a bunch of times on this channel, because these rumors of these cars have been flying around for years now. So this is no surprise that as we get closer to the release date of the Z06, we're getting more and more information that is starting to leak out. Now, for those of you who don't know, we've actually touched on the Z06 topics a couple different times not too long ago, and they were mostly surrounding the wheels that the car is likely to come with, the spy shots that show a wider rear fender, most likely implying a Z06, and then most recently some sound clips of the car actually driving around some roads in California, which very much so sounded like it's going to have a flat plane crank engine. Now that is something that's been rumored for quite some time, and now with actually hearing it, it's very likely going to happen. Now with all that being said, there's been a couple more leaks that have come out just within the last couple days, talking again about some of the performance versions of the Z06 and the Zora model, and kind of clearing up what this car is actually going to be in its performance iterations. The Z06 was originally supposed to be a 2021 car, but because of the pandemic that was going on, it has pushed everything back. So GM has actually started calling this car a 2022 model. So with that said, we're likely to see the Z06 in the flesh sometime pretty soon. So the site Jalopnik actually talks a lot about it, and they said specifically that we're gonna see it very soon. And they talk about some new rumors that indicate that we can actually expect some active aerodynamics on the Z06 version, which was previously rumored to only be for the Zora model, or possibly just the ZR1 model, depending on how they're going to name these cars. But anyway, the 2022 Corvette Z06 is very likely to get some active aerodynamics and possibly a new center-mounted exhaust. Now, for those of you who don't know, we've actually talked about this before in another video as well, talking about the fact that the Z06 was likely to mirror what the C8R looks like. And in order to do that, there's a good chance the rear trunk may be deleted. And if that rear trunk is deleted, then yes, we can have the center exhaust again. So with that removed, the Z06 could have a more sporty setup, shorten up the car a little bit, and really build it for performance, and not so much to fit those two golf bags. Now, the Jalopnik site goes on to say that, as previously hinted from various USPTO images, the 2022 C8 Corvette Z06 is expected to integrate active aerodynamics with adjustable wings, splitters, and even side flaps that will variably adjust themselves as the American supercar negotiates braking, cornering, as well as accelerating. Now, this equipment will be optional, so it's not something that's going to cost you $150,000 right off the bat. This car is likely to start at around $90,000 before any options. And all the aerodynamic stuff we're talking about right now will likely come with the Z07 package that's traditionally offered with the Z06 Corvette. Now, on the Horsepower Obsessed YouTube channel, we have talked about patents for as long as I can remember when it comes to the C8 Corvette, but there are a lot of patents out there suggesting active aerodynamics for a lot of aspects of this particular car. So even if it's not the Z06, it could be the Zora model or the ZR1 model. But either way, with all the patents that GM has filed for this, at least one of these models is going to get some sort of active aerodynamics. All right, guys, so we're going to take a break from the action real quick to mention today's sponsor, and it is going to be Ridge Wallet. I've talked about them a couple times before, guys, but if you look at it, it's a real nice carbon fiber updated wallet. Allows you to carry your cash on the back with a money clip or a money band that will hold it, as well as hold up to 12 of your cards. As guys, we typically carry a bunch of crap in our wallet that we don't really need, and this really helps eliminate the mess. Now, this will hold your debit cards, credit cards, and even your identification, your driver's licenses, things like that. If you're interested in something like this, guys, definitely check out the description down below. I will put the 10% off coupon down there. You can save some money on these just for being a Horsepower Obsessed fan.
understand.
Now, Jalopnik also goes on to say that the C8 Corvette Z06 is likely to see a revised rear fascia because of the difference in the exhaust and where it exits. So if that's the case, we could also see some sort of additional rear diffusers put on, again, for a performance aspect, as well as the fact that the whole thing has to be redesigned to allow a center exhaust anyway. They state that according to the sources, the outcome of rerouting the exhaust from the edges of the rear fascia to the traditional center would help improve the sound of the 5.5 liter dual overhead cam, flat plank crank, naturally aspirated V8 engine, which is apparently codenamed the LT6. It would improve the pitch of the exhaust note and allow the mid-engine Corvette Z06 to sound more like an exotic car, further differentiating it from the pushrod V8 found in the LT2 powered C8 Stingray. The next bit of information is extremely interesting because it comes to us from the guys at Muscle Cars and Trucks. This next bit of information definitely guarantees that this Z06 is going to be an absolute beast, because they said it is supposed to come with the same factory set of tires that the Porsche GT3 RS and the GT2 RS comes with, and that is the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2R tires. The exact spec is supposed to be 275/30/20 in the front and 345/25/21 in the rear. And of course, those are going to be wrapping up the optional carbon fiber wheels that have been spotted in the past, again, in a previous video we talked about. Now, for those of you who don't understand why the Cup 2R tires are a big deal, it's because the GT2 RS is the fastest car around the Nürburgring, and the tires are likely one of the big reasons that was able to happen. Jalopnik actually starts also talking about the fact that these tires are Z-rated, meaning that the rubber is rather notably capable of far more than 149 miles per hour speeds for high-performance applications. And they go on to say that that's something that they have no doubt that the Z06 will be able to handle. So if GM decided that the C8 Z06 needs more than the typical Sport Cup 2 tires, and they're giving it the Sport Cup 2R tires, then this car is going to be an absolute beast. It obviously needs the extra traction, it needs the extra grip, and you basically can't get a better tire than that without going with a full slick setup. So this is definitely a huge announcement for the Z06. It means this car means business. Another interesting about this particular leak is the fact that the wheels are going to be an inch bigger in the back and an inch bigger in the front than the typical Corvette setup. So for any of the C7 lineup, the largest wheel you could get from GM was 20-inch in the rear and 19-inch in the front. With the Z06, they're going to be 21s in the rear, 20s in the front. And while that doesn't necessarily mean anything huge by itself, it's interesting to see that they're willing to put a little bit more into this car to make it even more quote-unquote exotic. Now, it's very likely that the C8 Z06 base model will probably get just the Sport Cup 2s, while the Z07 package will likely get the Sport Cup 2Rs. Because the crazy high performance stuff is always held back for the Z07 package. The last bit of information is about the C8 Corvette Zora. So for any of you who don't know about the information on the Zora yet, it is likely to go base model, Z06, ZR1, and then Zora. There has been a little bit of confusion on whether or not they're going to skip the ZR1 and just go straight with the Zora moniker this time, but in my opinion, I think we're going to get both cars. I think the Zora is going to be the limited production absolute beast of a car that takes the ZR1 one step higher. But with all that said, recently carbuzz.com actually reported that GM has filed for a certain global trademark numerous times, and that trademark is Zora. Now again, we have talked about this in the past on this channel. GM has trademarked the name Zora multiple times before, but the fact that they're doing it again around this time, right around the time that they're really going to start pushing the performance models of the C8 Corvette, really tells me at some point the name Zora is going to make its way onto a C8 Corvette. But carbuzz.com goes on to say that the automaker first applied for the trademark back in 2014, with more than 30 applications filed that year alone in numerous countries. Additional countries were added to the list the following year. This trend continued all the way through this past February, when GM requested the trademark rights in the Philippines. Interestingly, GM does not have a lot of business in that country, and this was the third time it requested to protect the Zora name in the island nation in Southeast Asia. Without getting into too much information about it, Zora was the guy at GM who wanted to really take the Corvette and set it into a mid-engine car. So it would make a lot of sense that the very first mid-engine Corvette would have his name on it somewhere. And what better way than to slap it on the highest possible performance variant. Carbuzz.com says that because of GM's aggressive Zora trademark global strategy, there's a very good chance this future variant will be the ultimate C8. They also say it is very likely it's going to be slotted above the upcoming Z06 and the ZR1. Previous reports claim that the C8 Zora will come powered by a twin-turbo 5.5-liter V8 paired to a hybrid system that'll produce a combined 1,000 horsepower and 1,000 pound-feet of torque. All-wheel drive will be standard, and numerous exterior aerodynamic upgrades will be everywhere. And, of course, we talked about the previously leaked document that revealed that the Zora model is likely to be a 2025 model year. But I will put that up here on the screen again, just in case you guys haven't seen that particular video. And lastly, CarBuzz says GM's commitment to securing the Zora name rights across the globe makes it clearer than ever that this is going to be the C8 flagship car. And I 100% agree. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. So if you liked what you saw, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions about the C8 Z06, C8 Zora, or any of the C8 Corvette models, leave them in the comment section down below, or shoot me an email, horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com, and I'll make sure anything you have gets answered. I just wanted to give you guys all a big update. My C8 Corvette should be coming very soon. I already have about 12 parts sitting down in the garage for this thing, so we are going to hit the ground running with this thing. So once it gets to the Horsepower Obsessed garage, the content is going to be non-stop. You are not going to want to miss it, so please make sure you subscribe to this channel. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next upload.